Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm trying to make it through the day. How you doing?
I'm good. It's been very relaxing. It's been, those memes are really, they're really accurate when they say between Christmas and New Year's, you don't know what day it is. I don't know what day it is. I'm like, is it Tuesday? Is it Wednesday? Is it Friday? No clue. What? Listen, doing makeup and I'm not the big makeup person. I don't know how you guys do it.
Who you guys?
I feel like you're always dressed up. Your face is always done up. So
Fun fact, I put this on because I'm like, I know she's gonna come on here stunting, so let me get my life.
you're hilarious. Hilarious. Well, now we know how Letitia looks in real life.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Let me put my hands. What am I doing with myself?
Thank you for joining me.
How's it going?
It's fine now that my mic is on. Oh, all right. So first things first, if you can introduce yourself to our audience, let them know your name, countries you're representing, and what you do in the carnival industry.
Okay. All right. So, hey guys, thanks for having me. My name is Letitia, also known as Carnival Bay on Instagram and different platforms. I am Canadian born. My mom is from Jamaica. My dad is from Barbados. I love both islands. I think it's the best of both worlds. In terms of the carnival industry, I kind of do a bit of everything. I've been calling myself kind of like a carnival hub, just because I educate about carnival. I give tips about carnival or the soca scene. I am an affiliate for a lot of different local Caribbean brands. I do model coaching, right? So there's a lot of things, all the things, but they're all centered around carnival because I love it more than anything, hence the name Carnival Bay before all else.
I don't think anybody knows, not anybody, I don't think many people pay attention to the last part. I'm like, oh, it means something. That's why they're in all caps. But
That's definitely where it started. Yeah, that was the original thought behind it. And then someone said, hey, well, like you're kind of like a Carnival Bay, like you're like the girl. And I said, okay, well, it has two meanings, cute, but that was the original meaning. Bay is the acronym before all else. And I love mass. If you've ever seen me on the road, it's all smiles, tears, all the things. Definitely near and dear to my heart.
so before we get into the questions, I always like to play this little game, this little this or that game, and I have prepared. So we'll go with what I usually go with, and then I'll come up with some more along the way. So this or that, groovy or power soca?
Power Soca.
Why?
I love the bass. I love the heavy instruments. I love the type of dancing that comes from it. It's really just a good vibe. It makes me think of Juve or Jab Jab. I am a big Juve girl. It's a very close second to Pretty Mass. But yeah, Power Soca it just gets my energy up. It's a vibe. It's just a vibe, and I think again Bajan side and the Jamaica side, it's very heavy in the bass. I'm used to the dance hall. As you know, Bajan soca, there's not much grooviness to Bajan soca. It's very. So I think that's where it came from.
Listen, once I went to Barbados, I got hooked. I was like, there's nothing. The Trinis can get mad at me all they want, but it does not. It it doesn't do it for me like a Bayesian soca track. Period.
It doesn't compare, but it's crazy because sometimes I'm like, you guys have no chill, zero. It's very vulgar. There's no subtlety. Like I think in with Trini Soca, there's some subtlety there, like the Isaac Hunt song, right? And we know what they're really saying or what they're alluding to. But there's zero subtleties in Bajan Soca. Like they just don't care.
Well, nowadays, it used to be better
It
back
did.
in the day. Like, they used to be more subtle, but I think that's just a time thing. Because even some of the trendy stuff, I'm just like, ooh, y'all getting out there. All right, number
Hmm.
2. Fishnets or like a sheer
I'm
stocking?
I'm a fishnet girl. I usually go the tight knit because it's still from far away. It kind of still gives the illusion of a sheer or
Hmm.
a full stocking. Um, why do I like? You know what? I've always found that I can't find a sheer stocking or a full stocking that fits me properly. I find that my thighs really, really get in the way, and I can't hike them up all the way. And I'm in between sizes, and so it's either too big or too small. But I've just never loved them. Um, yeah,
You've never loved one.
like the full sheer
The
stocking.
sheer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's just how.
I'm like, you've never loved your
No,
thighs?
no, we love those from birth. Yeah, I've just never had a good experience with them. And I think by the time I hike them up, my nails are on. There's a whole so I might as well go with the fishnets. And I think they just allow for a bit more freedom. I think I can shake a little bit more in the fishnets.
That's fair. That's fair. On the road, what do you usually gravitate to? Sneakers or boots?
Boots. Boots. I love the look. I think it just adds this sleek appearance. I've done sneakers. It's nice, but I think it kind of takes away from the overall look of the costume. You have this gorgeous costume, and then it's just like, ah, it like makes it look casual.
Hmm.
And I don't think we look casual. You know, we do up our makeup, we do up our hair, we do our nails, and then we just throw on some sneakers. Yeah, no, I love the boots. I've always, actually not always, but from 2018, I tried Carnival Kicks, and I loved their Sasha Fierce Wedge boots. It's comfortable. I was shocked. I was at Miami Carnival, and I think it was about 8 hours later. I was like, okay, my feet are kind of hurting now. But the fact that it wasn't happening within the first 1 or 2 hours was crazy to me, and it was so comfortable. So it's been my go-to ever since.
Just had a question and I lost it. Oh my God.
It'll come back somewhere.
Oh, it's okay. We're just gonna go with those 3. So I want to know the origin story. Like, number 1, like, how old were you when you first started playing mass? We'll start there.
Okay, so I started playing mass when I was 17. 17, playing here in Toronto. I didn't. I played mass in Toronto for, I believe, 10 years before I actually went to an international carnival. But Caribana, Toronto Carnival is home. At first, I was like a lot of people, today that didn't really know why we were celebrating or why we were playing mass. My thought was, oh, these Americans are here and they're really cute. Let's go down to Yonge Street and find an American man. I had no business doing that at 17, but I looked like a grown up, I looked like a grown woman. And Yonge Street was down the street from me, so we used to just kind of go and look cute and put on our outfits and go look at guys. One year I decided to play mass with a couple of friends, and it was tons of fun. But again, still not really knowing the meaning behind it or why we were even celebrating. And I started modeling 2 years after that, and I found myself getting really involved in the mass camp. So I started off with a band called Toronto Revelers, and they were very welcoming. So I was making mass or building mass. I, was talking to the band leaders. You find that in these mass camps, you have the dads and the dads and the uncles and the grandfathers who are still there and participating, building the king and queen costume. And so, you overhear conversations about, what this means or where this came from or where this started. So that's kind of where the passion for it came in, or that's where it started. And that's when it started to mean a little bit more to me. And just over the years, it's evolved.
Like, I'm always curious to know, like, how complex someone's life is or not. So is this your only profession, or do you have like a career outside of the industry?
Great question. I actually quit my job. So I worked for Capital One. I was a quality assurance specialist. I didn't love it. I knew I didn't belong behind the scenes. Before that, I did social media communications, and I loved that because again, just an unconventional way of helping people, which I really enjoy. I feel like I've always found myself in a service industry of some sort. But I found myself on the back end for 4 years, and I hated it. I dreaded it. It was just this is not for me. But you have to do things that you don't always want to do, right? I have a child. I have a house that I have to pay rent for. So it was something that I just had to do. But as I said, I quit in September. I mentally felt great. Felt great. So the carnival industry, I've been trying to find ways to monetize. So that's the stage that I'm in right now, monetizing to an extent that can pay my bills, right? Not just a side hustle. I want it to be what I do because I love it and I see the potential. I see how much I've grown from, just starting a page and just posting pictures of myself in past modeling. It's definitely grown. I've found, I really enjoy educating people, especially the newbies. I love it. I love when people say, "Hey, oh my gosh, I played math because of you for the first time." Like, if you want me to cry, just run up to me and say something like that. Because it's nice to know that you're making an impact. Someone who is scared, we obviously, this is easy for us, but someone who's scared to do it because they don't know much about it or they don't think that they belong, it's really humbling to, be able to say, "Hey, I was able to help you and feel comfortable enough to get out of your shell and do something you always wanted to do." So that's where I am. It's not full time right now, but I am narrowing or kind of fine tuning maybe one or two things that I really want to focus in on in the carnival industry and going to work on monetizing that.
Okay, so this is gonna get a little personal if you want to share, right? So Capital One is bye-bye as of September, and you're doing all your content stuff, you're doing all your modeling stuff. Like I said, I'm just like, how do these people do these things? And I also, so the goal of season 5 really is to kind of get listeners to understand various aspects of the industry. So, what is like a day in the life, right? So, what do you like? What does your day look like? And then I also want to know like how involved the process is when you're like preparing for like a band launch or something.
Okay. So day in the life, if we're just talking about content creation, so I find I'm most successful when I get up early and I start the day because if I lay in my bed until, especially now I can lay in my bed till 10 o'clock. If I do that, I find it's just an excuse for me to get comfortable. My laptop is there. I can turn on a show. I am I'm a crazed Friends fan. I love Friends. I will sit there and watch it all day long. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. Get up early, and I find it's better when I have some sort of plan. So if I the night before or the week before I've said, "Hey, I have to make these 6 videos." Let me do myself up and let me find a space where I actually want to record because that's also a big thing. I find if you don't have a space in your home that you want to record, I feel like it throws you off. If the lighting's not perfect, it throws you off. So that's a big deal. Whoever's listening and wants to do content creation, just think about those things in the background because you will watch back your video and say, "I hate this." But yeah, so just having a list of things that I want to do. I am not the greatest with scripted videos. So I find I do many takes, I should say. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time. You're sitting there and you're recording for maybe half an hour and it's a 20-second video. So and then you have to edit. And so it's really a lot of just the back end stuff. And then when you finally get into recording, it's great because you're talking about something you love at the end of the day. I think that's the biggest thing. I love this. I love what I do. I love getting out there or putting myself out there, as difficult as it may be. But I think that's the easy part once you have all the other things kind of figured out. Um, yeah, I find if I get my day started 7, 8 o'clock, I can be done by 1 o'clock, and I still have the whole day to do whatever I need to do, and I feel very accomplished. So that's a really good feeling. The 10 o'clock thing, you're not getting me to do any work. It's over for me at that point. Um, band launch day. Band launch day is fun. It's a little nerve wracking. I still get nervous after 13 years, but it's a great experience. You start probably around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, depending on the band. A lot of them say, "Hey, we want you there 4 or 5 hours in advance. You have to do your makeup." Depending on the band, they might be taking care of your hair. All of that stuff is dependent on who you're working with. But it's it starts off with breakfast. I have to have breakfast, whether it's small, whether it's big. I just have to because I know myself. I Once you get on stage or once you get backstage, you're not going to have much time to do that. You might not want to because you'll feel like you'll get bloated. There's all these little, oh, I don't want to look bloated. I don't want to do this in my costume. All these things. So yeah, start off the day, breakfast, very positive, mindset. I like say my prayer in the morning because there's a lot going on. Anything can happen on stage. I've seen female drop. It's still very nerve wracking. So get to a band lounge and it's pretty hectic backstage. You have 40, 50, 60 different models back there, but it's always a vibe. Everyone has really good energy. Everyone's really positive. They're really excited for the day to come. You're backstage doing TikToks or you're doing transitions, you're doing your makeup. It's just very glamorous. It's fun. You do your rehearsals and it just becomes very real. And my thing is, you'll find me like mini story. The first time I modeled with this group for Toronto Revelers, I hadn't modeled with them before, and I remember just there was two partners, so two people in this brand, and so one of them knew me and she booked me. The other one hadn't met me before, hadn't seen me before. And I guess the first time she saw me was on stage during rehearsal. And I'll never forget, she's like, "Teisha, you had your purse in your hand and you had your head wrapped and you just looked like you didn't want to be there." And I was like, "Uh-oh." But she said, as soon as you put on a costume, she's like, "I saw a completely different person. Your face lit up. You were just like you just didn't look like the same person that was rehearsing." And you know what? There's so many things that could be going on in your mind before life. You could be nervous. Like so many things could have happened before, right? But it's just to say that when I put on a costume, I am a completely different person. I don't think that I could model on stage if I wasn't in costume. I think I would be completely shy. The confidence wouldn't be there. I always call it my Sasha Fierce. It's like my alter ego, and I feel like I can really shine through when I'm in costume. And the lights come on, and I'm looking between someone's shoulders. I'm not looking at anybody directly because someone's gonna make a face and I'm gonna fall over. But it's a really special moment. The energy is crazy. All the people, they're very supportive. That's what I love. Like when the crowd is really engaged, because there's nothing worse than a silent crowd and you're pulling out all the stops and they are just like with their phones here, the eyes, all the things. So yeah, definitely a really, really fun experience for me at least.
There's so much to comment on. Okay. Number one, I really hate short form content. I can't stand it. Which is why I'm like, you know what? I'm going back. I'm going back to my YouTube ways. And I'm reminded, like, I started the podcast because I wanted to talk longer. Like, I'm not about spending all this time capturing moments only to like squish it into 30 seconds, 1 minute. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Nope. I'm gonna be a snob about it, and I'm gonna post what I want. I don't care about what people want. Um, Like I feel like y'all are gonna appreciate the longer stuff. And if you don't want to watch it, you can just, speed up or just watch a couple seconds and then move on. Like I'm okay. I can't stand short form.
Very good point. I actually, that's something that I wanted to ask you about too, because that's actually why I started making the 30-second or 60-second reels, because I found it hard to talk on YouTube for long periods of time. So that's something that I wanted to bug you about actually. So I'm gonna keep that thought right here.
Okay. Okay. The next thoughts that came were, okay, we're talking modeling. Do you have a manager? Do you have an agency, or are you doing all of this like on your own? How does that work?
So I've been doing it on my own. I found that I've tried to work with a couple of managers, and either they weren't serious, or maybe I just didn't find the right fit. And that, so again, that's something, again, with the monetizing, I'm also trying to find someone who really fits my needs. I fit their needs. There's a good relationship, good rapport there. But no, I've been doing it all by myself. I think I've been doing an okay job, but I think I could be doing much better if I had someone representing me. I don't like to do the money talks. I wish I did. I think I need to be able to do those. I think everyone who does something like this needs to be able to have some sort of experience with, hey, like this is what I require. You need to be able to make that statement so that people can take you seriously. And so again, just looking for someone who really fits my needs and I find a good relationship with. But on my own so far.
Okay. Okay. So then how this is very intriguing. So how does pricing happen, right? Like, do you go in with your number and they come with their number and then you kind of negotiate? And then part two is like, how does the pay schedule work? Like, are you paid before? Are you paid half, or are you paid like after the modeling has occurred?
So with Toronto, I will say what I've found, it's very different from like the islands or even in the States. I find that being paid to model here is not a thing. Um, it's some people, when you request that, or you let them know, hey, this is my fee, they're like blown away. And that's crazy to me this day and age, because the way I look at it, and I've thought this way for a very long time, if you don't have us, you don't have a show. You can't wheel your costume across the stage, right? So, you pay money for these designers to make these costumes. You pay them $5,000 for their design. You pay hair and makeup. You pay this, that, and the third, but you won't pay the person who you are putting all of this on. Like it literally doesn't make sense to me. um, so again, I say that to say that Toronto is very different in terms of their, what they think they should provide. Typically, they'll provide a costume, a backline costume for the most part. That's like a general contract or what I've seen. But I, it's funny. I would actually do this for free because I love it so much. But it got to the point where I said, I have expenses. I have to do my wax. I have to do my hair because they don't really take care of your hair here for the most part. I have to do my nails, my toes. Like there's all these things that I have to do. I have to drive there or Uber there. I shouldn't be losing to make you money or to get to this bank. So I could at least break even. So I found that for me, I actually just based my price on my expenses and kind of added a little, whether it's $50, $100 above that, but my base is the expense price. Um, because I just at least want to break even. As I said, I would do it for free, but things have to make sense. Everyone has bills, right? So here now, I am either paid a deposit up front and then night of remaining, or paid in full. And again, that's up to the section leader. If that's what they want to do, they want to do it. They trust me. We have that relationship. They pay completely up front.
Did I make this up? You haven't, have you done international shows like another?
I'm in Jamaica. Jamaica was my first island last month, and then I've done. Where else have I modeled anywhere else? I did Hollywood. January. Like I can't remember. I did Hollywood. So that was fun. It was nice to be outside of Canada. So it's nice to just kind of get a feel for the different crowds. So obviously was amazing because it was outside. That was my first outdoor band launch, which was really cool. Hollywood was nice. Definitely a different crowd. Definitely a different crowd. Very mixed crowd, but the energy was crazy. I love that. You know, different backgrounds are involved in playing mass, and they really support it. So that was really cool to see. I've also done the Miami showcase. So yeah, it's definitely been a good experience. It's been a good year. Everything happened this year, actually.
So how did the Jamaica Carnival experience, not the carnival, but how did the band launch and the just like the organizing of your participation, like how did that differ from Toronto? And then also when you're doing these band launches, like do you only have that first day to kind of do like a test run, or do you have to go like days before, or like how long is that process from whenever you initiate that agreement?
So Jamaica kind of happened. I would say it happened more last minute than anything. I love Gen X on the road. I've always had a great experience with them. And I said, "Hey, are you looking for models in Jamaica?" Because I actually was planning to be out there the same weekend. So I said, "Hey, like, let me see. If you don't ask, you don't get an answer." And they said, "Absolutely, we'll have you." I had a great conversation with Mala, one of the directors, and it was very seamless. It was really nice. They had all the models, the overseas models in like a big house, and it was nice because you got to also just speak to, like, see some of your favorite models. Like I was in a house with Asha Henry, and it was so nice because you get to see people like their human side. Obviously, she does very well to speak to the camera and show her personality outside of Carnival, but it's nice to just see someone in their element, just at home, right? And it was nice to really have that positive female energy around a table. Everyone was really friendly, very energetic. So we got to spend a lot of time together, which was really nice. And for the band launch, so that night actually we came in and it was a torrential downpour. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy storm, like flooded. Couldn't even get to the house to do rehearsal the first night. So we rehearsed the morning of the band launch. Yeah, so that it for someone brand new, that probably would have been really nerve-wracking. It wasn't too bad for me. It was still a bit scary because, again, first time outside, first time in Jamaica, don't want to make a fool of myself. I'm standing here with how many time models, the model in Trinidad and model here, model there. So I think that was where my nerves came in, because I felt like I was the still the newbie out compared to these women. But the rehearsal went well. It was very seamless. They were very organized. They knew what they wanted. I think they had previous rehearsals with some of the locals, but it was very seamless, and they gave us the opportunity to kind of run through it as many times as we wanted. And then when we got to the venue, we rehearsed on stage, and I think it went pretty well. I don't know, you might have seen that we were barefoot.
Yeah, everybody was comment. I was like, "Oh, you have to barefoot," because I can't stand a high heel. Because I'm just like, I get it. Aesthetically, it does look better, but I'm just like, we're not gonna be. I mean, most of us are not gonna be out on the road like that. And when you are in heels modeling, it like there's probably like Chris, right? Chris is the only one, Chris Choreo, who be going in, right? No matter what she has on her foot. And I'm like, okay, I can see what the costume is gonna look like, right? But everybody wanna be all dainty and try not, and I get it, but I'm just like, can we just I was so excited when I saw y'all with no shoes on.
It's so funny. It's so funny how, like, it's so funny how that worked out, because we were supposed to be in heels, but it was literally half an hour before. They're like, "No, it's the stage is so wet. We don't want you guys to fall." Like, that was the major concern, and you know what? We probably would have, because even barefoot, like, I felt so limited. I don't know. I watched the Chris Courier video back and I said, "How, girl, how?" Because I said, "Listen, what kind of grip do you have on the bottom of your foot?" Because how did you manage to stay stationary on the stage? I said, hey, more power to you, because Lord knows I was gonna do my dainty walk all the way up and down that stage because I was not falling. I wasn't doing it, especially in, like, you have the big backpack on, right? I don't want to damage anyone's feathers. Like, all those things are going through my head. But yeah, half an hour before they said, guys, no shoes. And me in my head, I was like, damn it! I had my pose worked out. I had this worked out. But you know what? Just again, safety first, and it worked out so well because so many people, like you're saying, are saying we love that you guys were barefoot. Everybody is like, wait, you were barefoot? I've been waiting for someone to do that. So it worked out perfectly. So it was good, and all the girls were safe. So and guys.
Oh, so did the financial piece work out differently for Jamaica? Were they like, did they expect to pay you, whereas Toronto's like, what? Okay.
So for Jamaica, and again, I don't know if this varies with different models. So it was more of an affiliate, like an affiliate code. So basically, right now I have an affiliate code under all the costumes. People book with me or book under me, and I get a portion of that in return.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that. Um, so how does all of this work being a parent?
Hmm So what's that? Um, So I think right now it's been the perfect age, perfect timing, because she's in that high school phase, right? Daughter's 14, and she doesn't have much need for me, in the sense of, mom, I don't need you to take me here. I don't need this. I can sleep over at grandma's house. I can sleep over at my aunt's house, right? So that's really worked out in the sense of, me being able to go to these carnivals over a weekend. And I try my best to not do, week long or 2 week long trips. I will do like a Thursday to Tuesday maybe. And again, she's very busy. She keeps herself really occupied, which is great. Obviously we converse while I'm away. I'm like, hey, do you miss me? No, not yet. No. So I said, all right, well, you know what? I'll stay another week. But it's been really easy, I will say, just because of the timing. If she was a bit younger, this might not, go the way that I would have wanted it to, or I might not be able to fly out to these different carnivals, or every other week, or every other month. So it's been pretty easy. She really actually likes to tell people that her mom models in carnivals, or plays mass in different carnivals. And so that's really nice to know. It feels very supportive. I've always asked her, hey, do you not want me to go? Are you sad when I leave? Because sometimes, I'm heading to the airport and I'm like, hey, can we say bye? Can we hug? She's like, this is not new. So I'm like, I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. But she's like, you don't have to be dramatic about it, mom. Like, you do this all the time. But, we have those conversations, and I said, hey, if it's too much, like, just please let me know, because I will stay. Right? There's no question about it. But she's like, no, I know it's work. I know you enjoy it. Do it. So I have a very supportive little girl.
That's good. Is she a soca baby, or like a dancehall baby too, or?
Oh, she has her moments. When she was younger, I definitely think she was more of a soca baby. I have videos of her dancing to Condense and all these different songs, and it's so cute. Now she looks at the video and she's like mortified. But here and there, you see them on TikTok, and they'll do their videos with their friends, and it's funny. I almost thank TikTok, because they're getting these kids to listen to some of the songs that we loved or we listened to. And so I hear her kind of dancing, or I see her kind of dancing to songs here and there, but she's not interested in playing math. She actually likes to model costumes as well. So she modeled in Kitties a year ago or 2 years ago, and she really enjoyed it. But she said, no, I don't want to play math on the road. Fine, just know that between 16 and 20, you're not playing mass without me. So you're going to have to wait to play big mass if that's what you want. So I said, pick now, or you wait for at least 4 or 5 years, because especially in Toronto, the scene is, I honestly think it's kind of dangerous. Um, it's, again, especially in Toronto, I think that's probably been one of the worst experiences in terms of, I hate to say this, guys, it's my home, but in terms of security on the road, it's very limited. You know, a rope doesn't protect you, right? We have, I think between Notting Hill and Toronto, it's very close in terms of the amount of stormers that we have. People don't respect the parade. I think it's a lot to do with lack of education. So it's a bit scary for me. I will say that. So I said, unless we're gonna be LeBron and Bronny, and you're gonna be beside me, and we're playing math together, I don't think so. Yeah.
So talking about preparation, what's the diet like? Right? What's the diet and exercise like? Is that a thing? Is it just, genetic graciousness? Like,
It used to be. It used to be because 2 years ago I would say, hey, 2 weeks before Carnival, let me just cut. It is not the same. It's not the same. I think your body goes through changes. I think it has to do with a lot of like stress. Make sure you guys are sleeping. All of those things have an impact. And I know that I myself, again, maybe due to work, due to a past relationship stress, right? I think I was just dealing with a lot and I wasn't being good to my body. But in terms of my diet, I find again, everything, different things work for different people. So I will go to the gym 3 to 4, no, I would say 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah, 3 to 4 times a week, if not more. And a lot of cardio or a lot of HIIT, high intensity interval training. I feel like that my body reacts really well to that. Um, I will typically do a heavy breakfast, so I'll have all my carbs in the day or in the morning, so I have the energy for the day, and then you'll find me with vegetables, protein for the rest of the day. I I don't have the discipline I used to have. So I might be snacking, and I'm a sucker for bread. I will sit there and eat a loaf of bread. Yeah. So I have to stick to it, or it's hopeless for me. So I have to go no sugar, no salt, or I find I start craving it throughout the day. So I think the biggest thing is start your day right. I find once I get into the habit of working out, or once I start to see changes, it's a little bit more motivating for me to keep going as opposed to cheat. Right. But yeah, so I typically maybe about a month before is when I say, hey Teisha, we got a carnival coming up, you want to wear string. Let's, let's cut back on the pasta or the apple pie or the ice cream or the pizza. Yeah.
okay, I get it. I love a bread too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, I ain't on nobody's stage, so I don't really have to. No. So for those who are interested in being a carnival model, being in front of the camera, what 3 tips do you have for them in terms of advice?
3 tips. So I'd say, first of all, make your social media page public. And when you do that, because that's literally your audition, right off the bat, right? Because again, you might be reaching out to a band or a designer. They need to be able to see how you present yourself. When it comes to how your social media page looks, have natural beauty shots, or have you in swimwear or something where they can see your body shape. And I'm not saying you need to be a size 246. That's not at all what I am saying, because like, who was it? Rawl did a a he featured a plus size or a curvy model in the front line or the ultra front costume, and I like fell in love with that because you don't see that very often. And I love that he was inclusive, because one, I get it, it's a business for them, but it's like, now I can picture myself in this costume, and I can feel just as beautiful because my costume isn't, a one piece with 2 gems here. It was a fully gemmed out costume that, they look like they put effort into. So, um, when I say show your body type, I just want you to be able to, show your confidence in what you're wearing, because they want to be able to see that, hey, in a photo on stage, you can portray confidence. What else? Have a practice in heels. Practice just in your house, on the street, and practice your walk, practice your your posture, standing tall, things like that. So on site, if you have to do a casting call, you're gonna have to pretend like it's the day of or the night of the band, and they want to see what you can do. So if you're at home and you're just not doing anything, hey, strut, practice your moves, practice getting into your poses very easily, and so you have it kind of down pat when they ask you to walk, because they're going to. And the second one kind of leads me into my third: master three poses, three of your favorite poses where you feel like you look like a baddie. um and practice getting into them really quickly, because when it comes to on stage, you might have maybe 1 or 2 minutes max to be on stage, and you want to get those photos, you want to get those action shots. So practice, your smile, your posture, how you get into those poses so that it's bam, bam, bam. And yeah, I think those would be my top three.
You had said that you had a question or something that you wanted to come back to.
Yeah, I wanted to know how you got into, vlogging, YouTube, blogging, being comfortable talking to the camera for long periods of time. How did you do that? What was the mentality behind it? And when did you start?
Mm, okay. I blame that on only child syndrome. Um, I do have siblings on my father's side, but I grew up an only child, the only child for my mom. So a lot of pretend play, I think, had to do with that as I was little. But 2010 was my first crop over. It was my first like go abroad, do your own thing, no parent, no parental guidance type of international trip with my best friends. And when I came back, people just kept asking me like, "Oh, how's the trip?" Blah 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 blah, because no one was really, the people that I knew weren't really doing carnival, right? And so my best friend went first. She went in 2009, and then she came back, gave all the information. And so I had always thought that carnival participation was something that like was a troop, right? Like you just had this organization and y'all did dances, and those were, it was like an enclosed thing that happened on each individual island. If I knew that anybody could just join a band, I would have been doing it for years, right? Because I've been seeing it. I was born in Boston, and so I always went to Boston Carnival like from a little girl. I went to Bahamas, and I saw like Junkanoo when I was growing up. I saw that too. And so I never knew that it was something that was just open to the public. So from 2010 to 2014, I just kept going back to BIM. And then 2014, I got in grad school in 2012, and so I was in there for 2 years. And then 2014, I was sitting in like my last class, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do with all this free time? Because I was spending all my time like writing and doing all these things for class. I'm like, I'm going to have a lot of time. And so I started to do this blog because I love cooking. So I started a blog called Lime and Dine. And then I went to Grenada in 2014, and then people kept asking about that, and I was like, well, I'm not going to answer all of these questions. So I was like, let me just make a blog. So I turned that blog into the Tingz Nice, and then I ended up putting all the information there. But then I was also like doing creative things. So I was like making boots and stuff for my friends, right? That we were going to Grenada and wherever we were going. And then I ended up posting like pictures of it there. And then people started asking me to make those things. So it just started from this natural progression of, okay, well, let me just share the information while I'm making these things and while I'm traveling. So that's how it started. And then I got tired. I think I got tired a little bit of writing. And then YouTube was like becoming more popular. So I was like, huh, maybe I should do YouTube. Um, the very first YouTube that I had was about Hollywood Carnival in 2015. That was a horrible, like if you go back and watch it, it was bad because I did not, the camera was on autofocus. And so it keeps zooming in and out, and half of it is blurry. And I'm just like, I'm not taking it down. Um, I, I think it's still up there. And yeah, it's just turned into this whole sharing thing. At the time, like when I started uh, carnival jumping, the only blog that was out was Trinidad Carnival Diary that I knew of. And then I think along the way, I like learned of Krista, like Bahamianista. And so she and I would like collaborate on on blogs and stuff, and YouTube videos every now and then. And then that was like we were all I knew. And it wasn't until like later that I started learning of more people. So it was just it was fun. It was a fun outlet. It was fun to engage and help people, especially as they got into the carnival life, because a lot of people thought the same way that I did. And yeah, that was the little origin story.
Nice.
And then when wire bras, Hollywood was my first time wearing a wire bra. And then I came back, I disassembled it to see what was going on underneath. And
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, let me try this out. Tested it, taught myself how to make them, and then
Oh
started
wow.
having a little class. So yeah, it's just like a evolution. Like I think I used to get annoyed or would take offense because at some of the comments that I would read, like, hey, you go to follow so when you hear people talking shit about content creators, or I'm just like, well, I just did it because it was what was being asked of me, right? Like I'm just sharing experiences. I'm not necessarily like, hey, come and do this thing. Like, no, this is what happened when I went. And if it's something that you like, then go forth. But I'm not like, I'm also very stingy. Like I'm to the point where like, I remember the reason why there are no videos of Jamaica Carnival 2017 is because I was like, I don't want nobody else to go. I don't want anybody else to come here. So I'm not posting anything.
I feel exactly the same. That's hilarious. That's hilarious that you said that. I feel exactly the same. I'm upset now. Like I'm happy for the bands, but I'm upset because everyone's like, oh, I'm going to Jamaica, and I'm like, ew. Uh, why are you? No, this is my exclusive carnival because it used to be so intimate, and now everyone and their mom is going, and I almost feel like they're not going to appreciate it the way they expect to because they think it's going to be like Trinidad. It's not. It's not. But it's hilarious that you said that. What did you like about Jamaica Carnival that made you like say, "Hey, like I want this to be mine"?
Once upon a time, I loved dance hall more than soca.
Okay.
Um, like late 90s, all throughout college, like dance hall was my thing. I still love soca. Like I would go to the corner store, go get my bootlegs and my bootleg CDs. But when I went to Jamaica, like the fact that someone was like, I didn't even know Jamaica had carnival. I was like, oh, that's a thing. Let's go there. Like I love new things. So it's like, okay, I do love going to Barbados, but I really need to put my coins somewhere else. And so I went to Jamaica for 2016 the first time. And number one, I just love that I got to hear dancehall on the road. And people nowadays are like, I don't understand why, because you're in Jamaica, it should happen. You should expect that. I
Yeah.
don't understand why we're upset. Um, Hearing dancehall on the road, it was very the roads are super wide, right? Like when you're freaking jamming through Port of Spain in like these tiny ass roads and you gotta wait for three trucks to come by before you can turn the corner. I'm like, that's annoying and it's taking away from the vibe. So the spaciousness, the fact that I'm just in Jamaica is a big deal because I feel like I don't know, I felt like it was a part of me somehow. And I felt complete. And then the people and the accents, we had this driver that we always go to now. I mean, granted, like it got real and it got weird because you get pulled over by the police with rifles, for randomness.
Yeah, been there. It's not.
And, seeing some of the biggest splits of your life, I'm just like, it just it was hilarious and it was great. And the food, of course, and just the culture, everything about JA was great. 2016. And then 2017 was really nice too. And then once the infiltration happened with just outside promoters coming in and kind of doing their thing and making it, more like Trinidad, it was bothering me. And then, promoters kind of trying to increase, right, the amount of attendees at certain events. It took away from the intimacy that was there. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna fall back. and
I get it. Yeah. That's definitely fair. It's unfortunate. I understand and it's great for them because we obviously want them to make money, but it definitely takes away from it. It was evident, but I still love it.
like I don't respond when people say what's your favorite carnival. I don't do that. I don't think that there's an answer there, but I'll say the most memorable road experience that I had was Jamaica Carnival 2017, 100% sober. I had ice water the entire day and it was amazing. Like the music, like you don't have to worry about who's running for, song of the year and hearing the song 20 million times. Like it was pure vibes.
No, I hear you, girl. I hear you, girl. Yeah, I think the road actually was probably what stood out to me the most, like the size of the road, and then because it's not, not so many people attend it yet. You could wear your feathers, you could wear your frontline costume, and me, I frontline costume. Yeah, like I'm the one that wears the costume till the end of the night. I don't want to be worrying about walking sideways and hitting somebody. So it was definitely like it was possible in Jamaica. It was easy in Jamaica, and I loved it. Loved it.
And the dances, like the fact that you had all the unifying dances, like you put something on and the whole band is doing the
Every
same thing. We
yeah.
in 2016, there was this moment, and I was by myself because my friend was having like some situation, like her liner was like dripping in her eye or something, and she was just open. When she left, I was like, I'm not leaving. Like, I will meet you back at the hotel. I was like, but I'm gonna stay here. And when I stayed there, like when I tell you the DJ played all the choreography songs back to back. Like he played Gas, he played Tom Cruise, he played like we were going through like the heart of downtown. Like, downtown is like, where everybody is like, ooh, I don't know. But they stormed and I was like, I don't even care if y'all are storming right now because the way that it looked when everybody's doing the same thing. I didn't even put my camera out. I don't have documentation because I was like, I'm not missing the moment. It was like I can cry now, but it was so dope. It was so great.
Nice. 2016. I would have loved to go back then.
Hmm.
I would have with Jamaica Carnival. But I've seen pictures and I'm like, this looks so fun. Like it looks like it was just so not chill, but it just looked like it was just carnival. Like it was if you're there, it's because you love carnival. It's not because you're here to be an influencer or you're here to take pictures. No, like you were just there to vibe out, and that's what I would love to see. I would love to see that.
Yeah, thank you. So before we leave, if you can just let everybody know where to find you, how to connect with you. Hopefully some bands are listening and they're like, hey, we heard you.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Teisha. Carnival Bay on all social media platforms. So on Instagram, it's Carnival CarnivalBAE. TikTok, same thing, and soon to be YouTube. I think I made my page Bay's World because I don't want it to be strictly
Yeah,
Carnival. Like I want you
yeah.
to see that I'm a person outside of Carnival, and I think that will also help just reach different people, right? And that's what I want to do. I'm a person. I promise. I don't just post Carnival content, but definitely there's always things to work on. So I will be, like even when you post, like I look at stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I really like what you're doing and it's very inspiring. So I'm trying to get there.
You gonna get this
Trying to
right.
get there.
You got this. And I'm gonna go subscribe now because I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah.
Aw,
Okay. Thank you
thanks.
so much.